Welcome to Nitpicking News. Today we're talking about something a little bit different.
It's the Commander social contract.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, still making daily content. If you want to support us living our dreams, go to Patreon and you can spend money every month to support us while getting cool things. Or if you want to buy cards and support us at the same time, TCG Player is the site you go to. Link in the description. Click it, navigate, buy the cards you want. Boom, we get a kickback thanks to you.
Thanks to you. So let's hop into this video. We're talking about Commander social contract. What's a social contract, Beezy? Give them a slight definition so they know.
Well, Joe, just off the top of my head, I would say that the social contract of Commander refers to an underlying principle that all players within the game are seeking a resonant, mutually enjoyable experience, not only for themselves, but for all players at the table.
So basically what we're saying here is everyone wants to have fun when they sit down and play Commander. That's the idea. Everybody wants to do that. So each player takes it upon themselves to do their part to make sure that not only their experience is good, but the other three players at the table have a good experience. So to begin this, we have to start with something that is very core to Commander, and that is Rule 0 and also the pregame chat. First, we got to just define Rule 0 for anyone who might not know what Rule 0 is. This comes directly from an article from last year by Sheldon Menery. These are the official rules of Commander. Local groups are welcome to modify them as they see fit. If you'd like an exception to the rules, especially in an unfamiliar environment, please get the approval of other players before the game begins. The whole idea is Commander gets to be what you want it to be. And so if you want to play a Tali Nezahal partner deck, if you get the approval of everyone else who's going to be playing with you, that is A-OK in Commander.
It's a little interesting to me. I guess there's a difference. No other format has a Rule 0, but also when I think about Rule 0, it's just always true of anything. If everyone partaking in a task agrees on something, they can all just do it. Right, as long as it's not illegal.
Exactly, yeah. I agree with that completely. But it is important to Commander because I think it's brought to the forefront. And it helps you to notice that Commander is designed for fun above competitive nature of winning, which is going to be another discussion point we'll get into in a little bit. So Rule 0 really pushes that home. This only works, this mostly only works in groups where you already know who you're going to be playing with, a play group, or if a store decides to run an event, they can choose to say, hey, we banned all extra turn effects. And that would be a Rule 0 change that a store has made. It is super important. Like I keep saying, it's important to Commander to have this and to know that this is what the format is, and that's the idea of it.
Yeah, we can mold it to be whatever we want. Partners, non-legendary commanders, planeswalker commanders, legendary enchantment commanders, token effects, custom cards, like 10 card decks. We can literally do whatever we want.
Yes. Just as long as you get the approval of everyone you're playing with, there's no issue with it.
It's kind of like Rule 0 is there's no rules. As long as everybody's fine with the fact that there's no rules. Okay.
Next is something that's been lumped into Rule 0 and even been called the Rule 0 pregame talk, and I don't see how it really fits. It's all about having a discussion about what is expected of the game, what the power levels are, and what you're going for. If somebody goes to it and it's like, I'm trying to win no matter what, and somebody else goes in and is like, well, I'm just playing to have fun, and my deck is pretty good, and I'm going to try and win, but I'm not playing no like Force of Will.
I'm on a $50 budget.
Yeah, exactly. It's on a $50 budget. So it's the expectation that when you sit down at the table, what is going to happen? If everybody at the table is expecting a infinite combos to happen on turn 3, then nobody's going to be sad or upset, and they're all going to have a good time. But if 3 people sit down and expect, well, this is going to be a nice grindy hour-and-a-half game, and they lose on turn 3, most likely none of the players at the table, even the one who won, are going to have enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's really frustrating when you don't quite match up power levels, so you got to have the talk. But it's not like when you sit down, your deck's here. We're not changing any rules before the game starts. I don't know if it's like I would call it a Rule 0 talk. It's like a power level discussion.
It is. It's making sure that everyone's on the same page. I don't think it is related to Rule 0 personally, but it has been connected through people basically. I would say people have like Rule 0 has taken like its own like meaning over the years to become something that it wasn't originally intended to be, which is fine because as with all words, they take different definitions as years go on. That's how words work.
There's also a good side and a bad side to Rule 0. I don't like when people use Rule 0 as like a dies to removal argument where it's like, if you think this card's too strong, just ban it in your playgroup. Like, that's not helpful to anyone.
Exactly, because I actually think you came right to the point that I was going to. I think that Rule 0 is something that people always use to like say that no card should be banned. And maybe that's true, but that should be true of all cards. It shouldn't. We do have a ban list, and even if they do say it's a suggested ban list that you should use for your playgroup, it still is a ban list, and cards need to be banned because they make the experience better for everyone. And I think the pregame talk could be brought down to needed to be done a little less if bans were a little more aggressive, in my opinion.
Right. You can take the stance of no bans, Rule 0 all the way, but then there's no ban list. Or you can take the stance of, no, you guys can do Rule 0, but here's the cards we don't want in the format if you're asking us.
Yeah, I do think one thing is tough. I think Rule 0 is important and it is necessary. I think that because of the way Commander is and the way it's functioned, it's super necessary. I don't think it's inherent that Commander needs to be structured this way. I'm not nitpicking and I'm not telling people how to make Commander, but I think that if the ban list is more aggressive and the card pool kind of feels more like toward the middle of fair, where you don't need certain cards to like feel like you can compete. It's like, I need Necropotence. How am I going to compete with his Necropotence if I don't have Necropotence? If those cards don't exist and you don't feel that stress to put those cards in your deck, well, then you don't need to have the pregame talk as much. This next part is something I've wanted to talk about on this channel for a long time, and I finally found a video to put it in. It's playing to win versus playing for fun. And now these are not mutually exclusive by any means. If you're playing to win, you're not necessarily not playing for fun. In fact, I think that it's super important that every player at the table, and part of the social contract of the game, that everyone is playing to win. And this is where something comes in that I am very passionate about. It's group hug decks. I do not like group hug decks. I think if you don't tell everyone at the table you're playing a group hug deck before the game starts, you are negatively going to be impacting the game. Why is that? Well, each deck sits down and their goal is to win, not group hug. Group Hug's goal is not mainly to win. If it was mainly to win, they would be playing a slightly more effective deck. Now, obviously, you can play lower power decks and still try to win. But Group Hug is actively giving away resources.
For no value.
For no value. And helping out other players for no value. What this ends up doing is boosting the best deck at the table. If you play a Rites of Flourishing and every deck gets to draw an extra card and play an extra land, the best deck gets the best of that every single time.
Yes, or sometimes when all decks are equal, the first player to destroy the group hug effect gets the best end of the deal. No one else gets anything. It's just like, play this crazy thing, pass. All right, I'll draw 3 extra cards and then kill it.
Yeah, what's the card that lets you draw 2 extra cards each turn?
Font of Mythos.
Font of Mythos. So they pass with Font of Mythos. You draw 2 extra cards and then kill it. You're still up a card and no one else got any advantage.
Right. It's just I think what you're kind of saying is, there's certain decks, like if you're playing a hardcore stacks deck, it's like the opposite end of the spectrum, but both of them are so far apart and so far removed from what most people expect is that you should probably mention either of them.
Yes, I agree completely. And what your idea of fun is and what anyone else's idea of fun is always going to be different. And this is where the pregame discussion comes in. You have to let people know you're going to be playing some crazy off-the-wall deck that might not be considered fun. I really do not consider nobody considers stacks decks to be fun, not even the player playing it.
Yeah, always. This is definitely a blanket statement.
Blanket statement, that is 100%
true.
But for group hug decks, I don't consider them fun. And if I know beforehand and I have an expectation that, that deck's not going to actively be the one trying to win, they're just going to be doing their group hug thing, then I can do something about that and I can adjust my play.
And don't get too invested in the game.
Yeah, exactly. If I go in, I want to win. I think I like taking it into a competitive type of nature. I want to win. I want to try and win. I want to try and make deals to help me win. I feel like if you remove that and you throw 4 group hug players on a table, nobody's trying to really win.
I mean, you take effects like each player draws 6 cards. How many times have you seen each player draw 6 cards, pass turn, and then the next player's like, okay, I win.
Yeah.
I assemble my combo. I don't care about the cards. You gave me the one I needed to go with this other one on the board. Okay, the game's over.
I think it is incredibly important that every single player at the table is playing and trying their hardest to win. Sometimes you're going to disagree with them. Sometimes they'll path to exile your guy and you'll go, that thing's a way bigger threat. And you might disagree with that. But if they think it's the best play, that's good.
You can't say anything.
You want them to be making their best plays. I really think that there is something taken away when a player is not trying to win or trying to kingmaker
kingmaking is brutal.
Anything. It's like that's one of many things that a player can do. If as soon as a player decides they're not trying to win the game, it's rough. I've scooped out of games. The other day I scooped out of a game because I'm like, I have one card in my deck. I know I'm dead, and I have plays that will actively impact each player. I'm not kingmaking.
No, I've done that too, where it's like I don't want to impact the game by conceding. And sometimes it's so hard not to. Be like, I'm done here. I can't win.
Yeah, exactly. I had one card in my deck. I knew I didn't have the ability to convert it into a victory.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to impact the game anymore because I didn't want to cause any feel bad. I didn't want to make anybody feel bad. I didn't want to ruin anyone's experience.
Like
social contract.
Your chance to win was literally 0%. Like it was actual 0.
Yes.
That game happened to be in a commander cube, so we could actually say it was 100% 0%. Because we know every card that you could have possibly had.
Yep.
0% to win. But what about the other 2 players? Well, Joe's actions directly swing those numbers from 80 to 20 wildly.
Oh, I could have dealt a ton of damage. I could have done a ton of different things on my turn, but it would not have won me the game and only would have changed the game's outcome, which I was not interested in doing from that point.
Yeah, some of this is like almost like a miscellaneous advice.
It is
episode.
It is. It's kind of it's understanding that every action and everything you do for Commander does affect other people's experiences. It's understanding that everyone knows their deck selection makes a difference, but some people don't understand that a group hug deck is a lot different. Like people don't think group hug negatively impacts the game, and I think it negatively impacts games with me as much as somebody else who might be upset about a stack deck's coming. Honestly.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's easy for me to zoom out when I see a group hug deck. I zoom out my thought process and I just go, okay, there's more resources at the table. Best decks rise to the top when there's more resources. My chances of winning go way down.
Yeah.
Or way up, which is also not that fun.
The group hug deck is designed to give stuff away. Sure, it might have a win con in there.
We can assume it does, but
but the issue is that they're playing the game differently. They're switching the game. You're taking the game of Commander and its expectations and things, and you're completely shifting them. Is that a bad thing? Not inherently, but it is if you didn't tell or let anyone know at the table.
And there's infinite examples of that. That's just one example. Stacks, your own special rule. Let people know. As long as everybody agrees on it, you can now sit down and play Commander. I feel like some people are like, kind of give off the vibe that like this has to be like a half-hour thing. Get out your pen and paper. It can really be done in like 15 seconds.
Yes.
Just make sure you know what to ask and what you're looking for. Like, hey guys, we going for like semi-competitive? We trying to end the game before turn 4? Like, what are we thinking? Board wipes, good, bad, not needed? Like, what are we? Mana Crypt? Do you just throw out card names and
Did you just say Mana Crypt?
And they go, no. And you're like, okay.
Okay, put my CD deck away.
Yeah.
Last thing we want to talk about, we don't want to ruin anyone's experience. We talked about it with playing group hug. We talked about bringing a CDH deck in, or just, king making. All sorts of things can ruin other players' experiences. Obviously, you want to be sitting on a similar power level. That's what the pregame discussion is for, to get you to that point. There are cards that are actively just like this pseudo banned. They really are. It's these Blood Moon effects that in stacks pieces and Armageddon, Containment, things that they don't just impact the game and like make it harder for players to win. They stop them from participating in the game. And these are really, really interesting because like the idea of a Blood Moon is it's punishing 2 non-basic lands. But if you sit down with a 5-color deck, obviously most of your lands are non-basic. You need 5 colors. You need to be producing things. So that deck gets punished and just doesn't get to play. And am I telling you Blood Moon should be banned overall? No, I'm not. I'm saying it's just comes down to people don't play Blood Moon and Back to Basics and cards like this because they don't want to ruin other players' experiences.
It's really interesting. Armageddon is not banned. You just play that card. But when was the last time you saw anyone playing that card? Or when was the last time you saw a deck check on YouTube where it's like, okay, guys, we're going to get our 6-drop Commander out, and then we're going to destroy all the lands. Like, people seem to realize that that doesn't make for fun, interactive games where everybody gets to do the thing they thought they were going to do. And it's so weird that the community basically soft banned it, but it's not banned, so I feel like the only thing it could do now is upset the people who don't play it. Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird. There's a weird spot that Armageddon those cards are in.
It is the social contract. That's the only thing preventing people from playing it. Everybody understands that this 4-player game of Commander is designed for us to have fun and enjoy each other's company, whatever expectations you set before the game.
Have our decks function.
Exactly. And everyone understands that. And that's why you're not going to see Blood Moon very often. I was discussing the non-basic land hate on Twitter with Sheldon Menery, and then BDM came in. He's like, yeah, I'm probably going to take Back to Basics out of my Estra deck because, I want to make the experience more fun for everybody. He's going to put in Squirrel's Nest instead. Nice.
Yeah, we still play to win. We still do powerful things. We still do infinite combos. But cards like Cyclonic Rift, I haven't put that in a deck in years.
Yes, cards that are just too powerful and cause the game to not be fun. I think that this is an interesting spot where I think the ban list should come in a little more. There's so many cards that it's hard for me not to put in my deck. If I make a black deck, it's so hard for me not to just include Necropotence. If I make a deck with 25 creatures, it's tough for me not to put Skull Clamp in it.
Yeah, there's just these cards that you're like, I have to play this? Obviously, no. But you are punished for not playing them because you have to play against them, and you can't tell anyone else how to build their deck.
Exactly. It's like I don't put Consecrated Sphinx in like any deck. I think I have it in one right now out of like my 5 or 6 decks. And I sit down and suddenly a Consecrated Sphinx hits the battlefield, and like I'm playing blue, and I'm like, well, I don't have it. They have it, and they should be allowed to play it because it's illegal in the format.
Right.
And it makes me miserable. And not miserable. Miserable is the wrong word. It makes me like, it's a sigh thing. It's like, oh, I hate that card.
I thought we were playing a different game.
Exactly.
Now we're playing the Kill Consecrated Sphinx game.
Yeah, exactly. And these cards, I'm not even telling or saying that any of these cards necessarily need to or should be banned. So when you sit down and build a deck, you are thinking about the other player's experiences, as every other player is. What your consideration of what other players might think is fun is completely different from other players. And so it'll definitely cause these misunderstandings. I know that some people play Consecrated Sphinx in their deck. I know some people play Blood Moons in their deck. I know people who have Contamination in their deck because they think they like the card, it's good and helps them win. And it's not my job to tell them to consider other people's experience. It's really hard to do that, to tell them how they should feel about the social contract.
And me personally, I don't even care what anyone plays, like at all. I don't care what you're doing, but let me know what the deck is. I'll bring out one of my decks that I think has, not like I'm not going to metagame against you, but I'm going to pick my power level according to what you did. Like, you pick first if you really want to play something, or maybe I'll pick first if I really want to play something. Hey, here's my janky 5 deck, my power 5.
And one last thing, there will be miscommunications. Don't jump down people's throats.
Don't accuse people of pub stomping. Maybe they just misheard you. Maybe they got it wrong.
Maybe
their 7 is different than your 7.
Literally, me, Beezy, and a good friend sat down to play Cat Tribal. I played my Life Gain Tribal thinking it was fine, and Beezy was playing his Carador deck.
The bad one.
And I'm like, I'm just like, this is going to be fine. My deck was just like too good. It was above the power level we were playing at. And I didn't even realize it. I literally brought it out thinking this will be a fine game. I was incorrect, and that's going to happen. There's no way for that not to happen some of the time.
It's okay though. You can sleeve up and play another game. Don't necessarily hold it against other people when you don't know that their intentions are bad.
Yeah, I just sleeved up my Stompy deck after. I'm like, oops, my bad, guys.
That was fine.
Deck. Yeah,
and that was like, what, 10 minutes out of my life? Okay.
Yeah, it happens. All right, but that is our video, and special shout-outs to all of our patrons. Love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. Get pumped, patrons, and if you want to support us even more, 1 week from
yesterday.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, 1 week from yesterday. I could not fathom that we are sitting here recording this on Tuesday, and that would come out tomorrow, and that would make it a week from today. Wait, is it Tuesday? Holy!
Today's Monday. Today's Tuesday.
What is wrong with me?
I thought yesterday was Wednesday, if that helps.
Dude, I'm so off. I've been thinking today is Monday the whole time, but also I knew we were going to play draft, so it's Tuesday. What is going on? Okay, but regardless.
Tell you what's going on. Our Kickstarter is launching on Tuesday, August 17th. However many days in the future that is for you watching this video or in the past. It's going to be running for 35 days, so if you've watched this and there's still time, go check it out and support it if you want to see gameplay.
I have to go delete my Twitter post because I said 8 days. I just realized that right now.
I told you.
I'm falling apart. I'm going actually insane. What else? There's a Discord. Hop into the Discord. Hang out with Nitpicking Nerds. Send us messages. Talk to us. We're here. We're real people, and we love communicating with the fan base, with the Magic's fan base overall.
Yeah, we're not going to give up communicating. I love having a space to talk and just joke and laugh about certain things. Maybe it's how much we hate Grave Titan. Maybe it's how much we love some other card.
Yeah. So what else? Are we just on tidbit about
I'm sick, so Joe took the lead on this video.
Did you say tcgplayer.com?
tcgplayer.com. That's the link for all of your affiliate needs. Click it, buy Magic cards, then we get a kickback on the order based on what you bought from TCG Player. No extra money spent by you.
Which we appreciate. So yes, now tidbit about our life. What is going on in our lives?
I'm sick.
We just watched. You are sick. We just watched the 3 John Wick movies in a row.
Basically binged them.
Yep.
2 days, 3 movies.
Very enjoyable. Cliffhanger at the end of the 3rd one. That was not. That was like.
And we watched the Suicide Squad, and then we have to watch Free Guy, and then we have to watch.
We already have our tickets for Free Guy.
Shang-Chi. I want to say that's what it is, but I don't want to mess it up.
The guy with the 10 rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his name either. But he's gonna beat up his dad. I think he's who he.
He's gonna beat up. This is a really big shakeup for Marvel movies. He's gonna fight an evil version of himself. It
is the most like stereotypical thing to do. Just fight the evil version of yourself in the first movie.
He's just like me. He's got a point. Whoa.
But he's evil.
Killmonger. Whoa. Oh my God.
Yeah, Killmonger.
Jeff Bridges. Whoa.
What's his name? You knew it.
Jeff Bridges. Obadiah.
He's some other Iron Man.
Yeah, Whiplash and the Iron Man suits. Those are evil Iron Man.
They're all evil Iron Man.
Loki's evil.
Was Loki evil Thor? I don't think.
They're both gods and they're brothers, and they do the same thing. I don't know.
Is he the bad guy in the first Thor? I've never seen the first Thor.
I never saw it either.
It's one of the few Marvel movies I haven't seen. Well,
Hulk and the Abomination.
Hulk and Abomination. Those are the exact same thing. Abomination's in the coming full circle. Abomination is in the new Marvel movie.
Spoilers.
In the cage. Spoiler. It's in the.
Someone's gonna be mad about that. I don't watch trailers.
I wish I didn't watch trailers because for the end of this tidbit, I'm going to tell you, I wish I had seen the movie Old without knowing its name and without seeing the trailer. It would have been a much better movie.
Yeah, trailer kind of killed it.
Yep, definitely. Peace out, Tribe Scout.